WNBA free agency off to a blazing start. We got news coming out of the desert in Phoenix, Arizona. The unicorn, Sate Aiye, will not be returning to the Phoenix Mercury. I told you this new CBA free agency, it is changing the entire land.
Just detonated in Phoenix. Sate Aiye, the unicorn, the 7-footer who can handle the ball and shoot from anywhere on the court, is walking away from the Mercury after just one season. Not traded, not waived, choosing to leave. And this isn't some quiet departure. Multiple teams are already lining up meetings, checkbooks ready. So, what happened? How does a team that was one series away from the championship just lose one of their big three?
Not be returning to Phoenix. Now, I guarantee if the CBA wasn't the way it was and they could afford 3 maxes and could still court a quality team, they would probably be bringing her back. But they can't do it. This here is on Yahoo Sports. Sate Aiye is not expected to re-sign with the Mercury. Aiye should be with multiple teams once negotiations open up. So Sate Aiye done in Phoenix already. It was a short run. They had a shot in the championship, but it did not work out.
Here's the reality Phoenix is facing, and it's the same reality about to reshape the entire league. The new CBA changed everything. You cannot afford 3 max contract players and still build a competitive roster around them. The math just doesn't work. Brittany Griner is locked in. Diana Taurasi, even at the end of her career, commands respect and dollars. Kawhi Copper just had a career year and wants to be paid like it. Someone had to go. But here's what makes this fascinating. Sate had the leverage. She's 29 years old, entering her prime, and she's one of the most unique talents in the league, a 7-footer who averaged 18 points and 8 rebounds while shooting 37% from 3. That's not just max contract material. That's franchise cornerstone material.
Any real complaining, and y'all know Sate won a max. She complained all last season. I want my money. She don't care. She want the bag. Who is gonna cough up the dough for Sate Aiye?
And let's be honest about Sate's personality. She's not shy about wanting her money. All last season, she made it clear she felt underpaid and undervalued. She complained publicly, making sure everyone knew that when free agency came, she was getting everything she deserved. Phoenix knew this was coming. They had months to figure out the financial puzzle and they couldn't solve it. Now think about what this means for expansion teams. The Golden State Valkyries are sitting there with a blank canvas and a budget. They need a star, someone who can be the face of a new franchise. Sate Aiye checks every single box. She has the talent, the name recognition from her time in Dallas, and she's proven she can perform on the biggest stages.
This is going to be very, very, very interesting to see. Okay, it's a bunch of free agents out there. I think the Golden State Valkyries could make a big time push for Sate. I could definitely see the Golden State Valkyries making a push for Sate. I could see Portland, Toronto. I could see these teams making a push to bring in Sate Aiye on a max deal and have her be the number 1 option on the team. She's gonna have plenty of suitors. And I think she's gonna make a big time splash.
Portland and Toronto are in similar positions, brand new franchises, desperate to make a splash. You can't build an expansion team around role players and hope. You need that one player who walks into the arena and immediately changes the culture. Sate could be that player for any of these teams. She could walk into Golden State and be the number 1 option from day one, something she never quite had in Phoenix, with Diana still running the show. But there's a risk here too. Sate has a history. She forced her way out of Dallas after the Wings drafted her. She's been vocal sometimes to the point of being a distraction about her contract situation. Any team that signs her to a max deal is betting that she'll be satisfied being the focal point, that the complaints will stop once the money is right. The Wings learned the hard way. Talent alone doesn't guarantee chemistry. They had Sate, Reich, and solid pieces around them, and it never clicked. She wanted out. Now Phoenix is in the same boat. A talented player gone after 1 year. That's a pattern.
Skyler Diggins. Now, Skyler Diggins put out something where she wrote a letter to her home state in Indiana and how she's talking about there's nothing like playing basketball in Indiana. Are you trying to make a ploy for the Indiana Fever to come get you. I'm going to be honest. I'm out. I'm all the way out on Skyler Diggins joining Caitlin Clark in the Indiana Fever. I want nothing to do with it. I have watched. I saw what Skyler Diggins was doing. Jewel Lloyd wanted nothing to do with Skyler Diggins, NECA, and the coach up there in Seattle. Jewel Lloyd didn't want nothing to do with them. I got to keep it real. I remember Skyler Diggins arguing a lot in Phoenix when she was with Diana Taurasi and the Mercury and all that. I don't want nothing to do with Skyler Diggins being in.
Now, let's shift to the other major free agency story developing right now, Skyler Diggins Smith, and this love letter to Indiana. She posted a heartfelt message about growing up in Indiana, about how basketball isn't just a game, there it's a religion. She talked about being a child of the corn, about never forgetting where she came from. And the timing? Suspicious as hell. Indiana just had the biggest season in WNBA history, thanks to Caitlin Clark. They sold out every game. They had the highest ratings the league has ever seen. They're about to have cap space in roster spots, and here comes Skyler, a Notre Dame legend and Indiana native, publicly declaring her love for home right as free agency opens. On paper, it makes sense. A veteran point guard who can mentor a young superstar. A hometown hero returns. Great story, except there's a massive problem. Skyler Diggins Smith comes with baggage that Indiana absolutely cannot afford right now.
Sorry, I'm good. And you're probably going to be expecting to log heavy minutes. We don't need that type of backup. We need somebody that's going to come play 8 to 10 minutes in mind and go on, be quiet, go on about their business, be a team player. I don't have time for Skyler Diggins. You know, I think she's a good player. She's a good point guard, but I feel like it's a lot of drama that be following her in this league. And I just don't want I don't want nothing to do with these old guard players. I'm going to be real. I don't want nothing to do with them. But let's take a look at what Skyler Diggins had to say in this heartfelt message to Indiana. And I kind of want to, this is a certain part I really want to get to, and then I'll play the entire thing. Let's take a look.
Jay's with you.
Let's talk about Skyler's track record. Seattle wanted nothing to do with her. Noelle Quinn, the head coach, basically pushed her out after one season. Before that, she was in Phoenix arguing with Diana Taurasi, causing locker room tension. She's bounced around the league, not because of lack of talent. She's absolutely a starting caliber point guard, but because of the drama that follows her. Indiana doesn't need that. They have Caitlin Clark, already the face of the franchise, already handling point guard duties at an elite level. They have Kelsey Mitchell, who's in a contract situation of her own and might be feeling some type of way about the new coach, Stephanie White, coming in. They have Aaliyah Boston, trying to develop into a dominant post presence. The last thing this team needs is another strong personality who's going to demand significant minutes and touches. Think about what Skyler would expect. She's not coming to Indiana to play 8 minutes off the bench. She's a 34-year-old veteran who still sees herself as a starter, as a primary ball handler. But Caitlin Clark just had one of the greatest rookie seasons in league history. She led the league in assists. She broke the single-season assist record. The ball is in her hands, period. So where does Skyler fit?
I want to return to play at home in Indiana, where they live and die basketball. And I respect that. I understand that. I respect the fact that I watched Skyler Diggins come up. I remember her playing in the All-American game, being a fan of her as a kid at Notre Dame. She was the hottest thing smoking in college basketball.
And here's the deeper issue. Skyler was a superstar at Notre Dame. If Nell existed back then, she would have been a millionaire before she ever touched a WNBA court. She had endorsements, the spotlight. She was the face of women's college basketball for years. That's a hard thing to let go of. Now she's watching Caitlin Clark get that same treatment except amplified by 100 because of social media. In today's cultural moment, Clark is getting the attention, the money, and the adoration that Skyler probably felt she deserved back in her day. That's a tough dynamic to navigate in a locker room.